Hello, my Aries friends. This is Kristen Redman, astrological intuitive, and today we are going to be talking about the planetary influences that are going to be making an impact for you in 2022. And what a wonderful year it's set to be for you, okay? In so many ways, because Jupiter, the planet of luck and opportunity and just straight up legit luck, right, is making its way back into your sign where it hasn't been since 2009, 2010. And when Jupiter returns to a sign, it brings a lot of blessings that have been waiting to be bestowed upon you, right? And that's one of the things you have to look forward to this year, which begins in May and then it ends in October, giving you a preview of what it's really going to bring in 2023. In terms of blessings and expansion, right? You've been so limited in so many ways for a while. Let's say that, right? You had a lot of difficulty from 2010 onward in terms of redefining who you are and what you want out of life. And I think you're getting a lot of a preview this year on what that is exactly that you're going to do with this newfound understanding of who you are and what you want moving forward. So let's get into it, right? Let's start with this. This year of reconnecting the pieces of who you are, my Aries friends. So where we're going to start with that, I think, is Uranus. What happened when I said 2010? Maybe I didn't say 2010. I don't know, but that's when these things really started, right? We'll even backtrack it further. It starts out with you being Aries, right? You're ruled by the planet of Mars. You're the first sign in the zodiac. So that makes you the leader of the zodiac. You're a fire sign and you're ruled by that warrior planet of Mars. And it gives you that determination and that bravery to push through any obstacles that might be in your way. To have that courage that a lot of people don't have, right? And because you represent the first house in the zodiac wheel, that represents our personality and the way that the world sees us, our identity, right? Our identity. And you, Aries folks, are the ones that come here this lifetime with a great understanding, right? Astrology is black or white, right? It could go either way. So you have a great understanding of who you are. And you're here to prove your place in the world, or it can go the opposite way too, right? Not knowing who you are, not knowing what you want, and not having the courage to get it, right? Or you can fall somewhere in that little in between. But the way that we're looking at it, right, from this standpoint, talking about Uranus moving through your sign, what it did, Uranus is the planet. It takes a long time to make an impact on us, right? Uranus is way, way, way out there in the solar system. And it takes 80 years to make a revolution around the sun, where we take 365 days for our year. It's 80 of our years that are equivalent to 1 year in Uranus time frame. So when Uranus comes through and lands into a sign, it's been 80 years in the making, and it makes a dramatic impact. Because let me tell you, Uranus is the planet of dramatic, unexpected things. It brings unexpected events, people, situations, to us that make us really understand who it is and what we are and what our true authentic self is, right? We have these unexpected things. Let's use an example of a divorce, right? You're trudging along and you're in a marriage, and let's say it's not exactly what is fitting of you, right? Maybe let's say that your Aries tendencies got a hold of you and you were filled with fire and passion and excitement in the beginning. And then you were like, yeah, let's do this. This is great. And then you realize into it that this person isn't necessarily fitting of you, your core beliefs, your true values, right? It could be a job. It could be anything, right? And then so Uranus comes through. It started in 2010 and it lasted until about 2018, bebop back and forth around until 2020 when it finally left. So a good 10 years, right? Where Uranus, the planet of unexpected things, that radically changes your life, comes through because it's stripping away what no longer serves you, so the real authentic you can come through. Uranus moved through your sign, right? Saying, who are you, Aries? And you're like, well, what the heck? I'm Aries. I know who I am and I know what I want. Uranus came through and it took everything you knew and it dumped it upside down, right? And in that process, you did realize what is true to you, what isn't right for you, right? And now with Jupiter coming through your sign this year, not only have you recognized and realized who you are, really in 2020 is when those massive changes happened. Now Jupiter is coming through and it's bringing blessings and opportunities in that place for whatever you had to surrender and release that wasn't fitting to your highest good. Okay. Now Uranus, where it's moved into, it's moved out of that first house of the self and understanding the personality. And we're going to touch on that a little bit later too, with what it's doing. But right now, what we're going to focus on is money and finances for you for 2022. Now that Uranus has moved through there and you have a greater understanding of who you are and what would make you happy, now Uranus has gone through that second house of yours and it's going to be there, oh gosh, for another few years. But what happens with Uranus is it brings those unexpected things, right? And it's going through the houses of finance right now. So what it's doing is it's radically removing all of the obstacles that are keeping you from having the financial freedom, Uranus, that you want, right? Now, in terms to achieve that financial freedom that you're looking for, what it's doing is it's asking you to radically reassess your relationship with money, which comes down to the brass tacks of what you truly value in this world, right? Maybe what you valued 5 years ago, right? Maybe you valued security or what have you. Maybe now you're valuing your independence more. Maybe you're valuing honesty more. And so when Uranus comes through in that second house, it's bringing these things out to say, I want to bring you this financial freedom that you're looking for, but we have to release some of these things that don't fit us anymore. And that's a lot of outdated beliefs around money. So not only do we have Uranus bringing through unexpected things, so this could be an unexpected raise, it could be an unexpected job change, because we do have a lot going on with your career, which we're going to get to in a second here too. Could be an unexpected account that you didn't realize you had, and all of a sudden you got this money coming in. There's all these different options that can happen when Uranus moves through that house, but it's all going to be contingent on how much you really break it down to the brass tacks of what you really value. The more that you get clear with what you value and what you deserve, okay, that's the big thing here, what you really truly deserve, the more crystal clear you can get on it this year, the better, because the universe is going to respond in kind as a result. Now, not only do we have Uranus kind of moving and shaking through there, removing all the obstacles that are in your way to achieve these things, we also have the Taurus and Scorpio eclipses that are happening this year in your house of finance on this side, in your house of debt on this other side over here. Now, the eclipses in astrology represent where new beginnings and new energy are coming through. And while this is happening in the second house for you, it's really shifting your mentality in terms of finances and how you spend your money. Now, I love you, Aries folks, man. You are the firestorm of our zodiac, right? You get things done. You are the movers and shakers and you are the leaders. But I tell you what, sometimes when it comes to finances, it doesn't work out so good, right? Because you're excited in the moment and you make these big purchases, and darn it can come back and bite you in the butt because you jumped before you really put the thought into it, right? You're so strong and focused, Aries, that man, when it's time to jump, you know when it's time to jump. But sometimes you jump before you come up with the plan. And that really can manifest in terms of finances. And this year, with these eclipses and Uranus happening in those things, I can see where Uranus is showing you where that hasn't worked out so good for you. And maybe you're seeing where that's affected your bottom line. But also these eclipses are going to bring it into light as well, too, with what is this relationship I have with money? And I think when it comes down to it, it pulls into that idea, too. Maybe in the past you didn't feel that you were deserving of certain things. Maybe you didn't come up with the plan, but these eclipses are going to show you where that happens. And let me tell you the dates where it's going to be almost like a billboard from the universe, right? On what changes need to be made so this financial freedom can be yours. That's going to be April 30th. All right. And then again on November 8th. Those are the big eclipses in terms of money and how you make it, and how much you value yourself and how much you think you deserve, right? Because there's going to be a lot of new insights into that this year based off of the events that are happening externally. So pay attention to what's happening in the couple weeks leading up to April 30th and November 8th, and as well as the 2 weeks after, because that's when those eclipse portals happen, right? And they bring these things through. So pay attention to those. But so not only do we have that, but we also have the year starting out with Venus, the planet of values, retrograding. And so I think not only that, but it's happening in your house of career. So I think you're already starting out this year with that mindset of, I deserve a raise, I deserve better, I deserve to be treated better, and I deserve to be compensated for what I bring to the table, right? And you may come out of that going in a new direction, right? Uranus, the thing that brings unexpected events. You may find yourself making that choice. Now, the thought process, right? Because Venus retrograde, retro, has us looking to the past, has us looking to how we've spent our money, how we've made our money, where we've given our heart center in love. We're going to get to relationship next, but that also is into it. With this Venus retrograde, it has us reassessing in a lot of different ways. And not only that, but we're going to have your planet Mars aligning with the planet Pluto of transformation and change on March 3rd, where it hasn't been for 2 years. So if you are looking to make a change in career, if you are looking to make a major change in terms of your finances, March 3rd is going to be the day to make those things happen. I tell you what, and you may see that the universe is bringing it to you in that time frame as well too, because not only is it aligning and really pushing for that massive change that you've been working for a good decade to get to, you're going to have the confidence to do that because your ruling planet Mars and you, the sign of Aries, that's what you're all about, is having confidence. But Pluto is making sure that it's tempered in a way that you are able to make these changes that you want without burning bridges and hurting others in the process as well too. So that's something to look at. Money, yes, definitely a year for that. I tell you what, let's go to the other side and then we're going to move to relationship. Now, not only when we come with how we make our money, it's where we spend our money, right? And that 8th house where these other eclipses in Scorpio are going to be happening are in your house of debt, right? All the things that we have to share with one another, right? So you may find that in the time frames of May 16th and October 25th, when these Scorpio eclipses happen, they're happening in your 8th house of debt. All right. This brings through new energy that's saying, what do I, let's look at this, right? Let's look at what I have outstanding and what can I do to make this happen, right? The universe is giving you all this energy to bring new ways of making money with these other things happening in this second house of finances over here. But it's going to give you that ability to pay this stuff off so you can have that financial freedom that Uranus is trying to bring you through 2025. All right. 8th house deals a lot with a lot of things, and this will be a great bridge into relationship here as well too, because the 8th house is what we share with other people, right? Finances, right? Debt. Obviously, we owe money, and you can see it how it'll happen on financial way. But the 8th house also has to deal with all things of transformation and what we give to others. And of course, relationship can also fall into that. Our romantic partners can fall into that. And when we have these eclipses happening in there, it's giving us insight onto how much we are giving to others when really we shouldn't be giving as much. Those scales are going to be coming into balance in quite a number of ways this year. And then that's going to segue into relationship here. So your house of relationship this year, we're going to be having some Mercury retrograde action happening there. That's the planet of communication. And I really, truly feel that especially in the time frame of August 26th to September 9th, you are going to be revisiting how you operate and how you communicate in relationships, right? Especially romantic relationships. But I think that 2020 was a big year for you in terms of understanding where you have put your energy into places maybe it necessarily wasn't for the best for you, right? We talked about that earlier. But now here we go into 2022, and Mercury retrograde has you looking at, okay, maybe you're in a new relationship now, but you're having some of those same issues resurfacing. This is where it comes down to, how am I communicating my needs, right? I think you're in a period of reassessment of that, and these Mercury retrogrades are going to have you looking at that big time. what is it that I want, right? We know that that's been a big thing that's coming up, but now it's a matter of vocalizing and verbalizing it. And for as strong and such as you are, my Aries friends, maybe that doesn't come through in the best way to the other person. It can either come through really fiery and rah in the Aries way, right? Or you just totally shut down and don't say anything at all, right? And expect for that other person to intuit what you need. This is a year where you're like, you know what? That hasn't worked so well for me over the years, and I'm ready to make some changes in that. So look to that time frame to know how to make that change, right? That's the big thing. Because no matter what, right? This is a year where you are understanding who fits in your life and who doesn't. We have Saturn moving through the sign of Aquarius in your house of friendship, and this is the last of the 2 years where it's making some pretty major changes to the foundations of who you consider friends and who you allow into your inner circle. Saturn is the planet of rules and order and structure. So this is a time where you're looking at maybe some long-standing friendships that you realize don't necessarily serve your highest good, that fits into everything else that we talked about. And now you're going to be undergoing this reconstruction process of some of those connections that you've outgrown, and you're ready to find people that are more aligned with what these true values are that you are discerning and understanding this year, right? So setting new limits, probably having to let some people go. I'm telling you what, especially that March 3rd time frame, when Mars aligns with Pluto, I think you're going to be really cutting out the slack in life that doesn't necessarily work for you. And keep in mind too, right, that Jupiter moving through that sign of yours, it's giving you a preview and bringing opportunities where you're like, well, if I let go of these friends I've had for 30 years, what am I going to do? Because that's what it does, right? Saturn moves in these 30-year cycles. This is some big changes that you're making in your house of friendship and organizations that you surround yourself with and commitments that you have to others. What am I going to do when these people are gone? Don't worry about it, okay? If you let go of the riffraff and the slack that is holding you back from moving forward, Jupiter coming into your sign this year from May until October is going to bring new people. It's going to bring new opportunities. It's going to show you a way where there used to be a brick wall. Jupiter comes through and it busts through and it brings these things through. You just have to know when to act on that and know who is more fitting of what it is that you want this lifetime, right? This is a huge thing, big thing. So not only that, let's look at it like this, okay? Let's break it down into the birthdays and what's really going to be happening for certain birthdays and certain time frames for 22, right? This year of growth and expansion that's really setting you up for some major success in 2023. There may be some more growing pains, and that may call on you to be the warrior and act in a compassionate way towards others when you make these choices and cut that sword into things that need to be released. I think you're going to be amazed at what Jupiter's going to bring in terms of it for 2023, where you'll really see that abundance moving forward. But so let's break it down a little bit more, okay? If you have a birthday that falls between March 20th and March 28th, you're going to have that lucky Jupiter of opportunity aligning with your Aries sun. And what happens with that is you're really going to be pushing your boundaries, right? Where you have limited yourself. It's going to be pushing you forward. It's going to be giving you confidence to make the changes that you need. And I tell you what, you're going to be definitely seeing a preview a little bit stronger than some of the other Aries folks in terms of what 2023 has to bring for you. But a lucky year nonetheless, right? If you have a birthday between March 31st and 31st and April 14th, it's pretty much all y'all Aries folk. Saturn is going to be aligning with your sun, and you are definitely going to be one of those ones that's feeling it more with that sword, where you're going to have to cut things, where you're going to have to set boundaries with others, where you recognize and realize the benefit of having boundaries. I think it's going to be a year, to be honest, where you are realizing what responsibilities are yours and what responsibilities are other people's, and what needs to be done to make sure that those responsibilities are filled. And having the confidence to stand up and say, nope, sorry, that's your circus and your monkeys, you take care of that. I'm going to focus on myself, and I'm setting new rules and structures for myself, which can be hard for Aries, right? Because you're so fiery and independent and like to do things when you want to. But this might be a year because Saturn's getting in there where more responsibilities come in your way, and you're going to be very limited with how much flexibility and freedom you might have. And you may find that you're actually happier with setting more structure for yourself, setting boundaries for yourself, and goals for yourself for the long term, right? So saying no might be a big thing this year, in ways saying no to yourself for things that you feel impulsively you need, but also saying no to others when it's really their responsibility to take care of in the first place, right? You got it. All right, April 14th to the 18th. This is a real short time frame for some folks here. Pluto is going to be making a connection with your sun. Now, Pluto is that planet of transformation and loss, so you might be one of those ones that really has to let some things go, let some people go, right? The thing is, right, if you do find that you have to make some massive transformations, because that's what Pluto asks us to do, if you're one of those Aries that has to, listen to what your intuition is telling you, right? Not the fiery passion or anger that's inside of you pushing you to make these changes, but listen to your intuition in your heart center. And if you find that this is a situation that you've truly been outdated and outgrown, especially if you didn't release it in 2020, like the universe had asked for you to do, you didn't listen to those signs last year that were coming down, this is a year where you're really going to be forced to either bring down the hammer, or the universe could make some things be removed out of your life, so that way you can really move into this next phase of who you truly are meant to be, right? 2023 is going to bring some amazing things for you regardless, and you're going to get a preview, my friends, through the mid part of this year. Keep focused on that, right? And no matter what, if you find yourself lost in these time frames, wanting to be able to make changes, call on Archangel Ariel to help you. She's the angel of Aries energy. She'll give you the confidence you need. She'll help you understand how to manifest the things you need. And when you break it down to it, it all comes down to how much you feel you deserve. And this is a year where the universe is going to show you your true worth and your true value. Thank you so much for watching, my Aries friends. Please be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising signs of the videos that I have here. And this is just a general outlook for Aries in general. If you want to look at it more specific and tuned into your chart, there's a link below where you can reach out to me for a reading, and we can dig in and see how these aspects are directly impacting you and your specific chart this year. No matter what, thank you so much for watching, and I send you wonderful blessings for a prosperous new year. Thank you.